first of all, let me introduce myself a little bit. So I'm Rita. So first of all, thank you so much for accepting our interview. So at first, can you say hello to all the Chinese fans at first?
Hello to the Chinese fans. Nice to meet you.
So, so welcome, Miski. So it is a bit sorry for today's match. Actually, it is a really close match. So first of all, how do you feel right now? Is it everything okay?
I felt kind of sad after game five, but also at the same time, I think we showed a lot of good stuff. And I think Rogue also showed a lot of good stuff. And I think both teams kind of played their style. That is very different, to be fair. And I think today Rogue came on top, but I do think that our play, if it's being well executed, will be better than theirs. So yeah, I think it's just we misexecuted some stuff today that we should not have, and I think we would have won the series. So I don't mind it too much. Also, luckily enough, we can play from the loser bracket now. So I don't mind it too much. But at the end, I think today Rogue was just the cleaner team, I guess, from us two, and it's okay. I knew the series would be really close, to be fair, because I think they're a pretty decent team. But I don't mind our play today.
Oh, glad to hear that you still fine. So, I was a little bit curious about like the preparation for today's series against Rogue, because we know that like for example Larsen, he it is really good as some scaling mage champion, and also like Maron, it is definitely the carrying jungler for them, like always have some momentum to help Rogue to have some early game advantage. So I would like to know that what kind of preparation for you guys did in order to prepare this playoff, and is it any special like preparation for the series against Rogue?
Um, I think Rogue or Prep. I don't want to say everything, but I think it's kind of obvious that if Malrang doesn't do his thing in the early game, I feel like they are a bit lost. Usually they just play in winning lanes in both mid and bot, and then Malrang just kind of covers them or cheeses or makes them ahead, makes them safe. So that's something we had in mind when we played for sure. But except for that, I don't think we changed particularly a lot of stuff. We just kind of played our game and yeah, match it into theirs.
Oh, yes. And other question I want to bring it is before today's series. So maybe many audience and even though for the caster, they will think that it was a very close series today. And then like the mid lane's performance will decide like which side it is will going to win today. And then we noticed you play like two games for Talia and then one games for Swan and two games for Silas. I
Hmm.
I was like a little bit curious about your thoughts about the mid lane champion priority in the current patch. For example, how do you think about the role of the mid lane in the current patch?
I think this meta looks like it's a lot about bot lane. I think as a mid laner, usually you just drop to 4-5 and then pick whatever is best into enemy comp and for your comp. That's kind of how I decide, I guess, my champs. Um, because bot lane is kind of OP. I think it's been OP for a while, but like there's Yumi and all these enchanters in the bot lane, so I think you kind of need to pick them early. So on mid, you just play whatever fits your comp, and then whatever champions you like the most. I'd say I don't think mid lane has like OP champions right now. I just think everything is kind of the same, and you just play whatever you want.
Yes, but I still want to particularly point out like something for the Talia pick. Since I
Hmm.
remembered for the LCK side, like the downwind here mid lane showmaker thought like Talia was a little bit weak in the lane. But it seems that like for LPL, we thought that like for the Talia pick, it is really OP in the game. Like she can bring a lot of impact in the game. So how do you think about this champion? Because I saw you pretty like prefer this champion in your team comp also pretty much. And then I really love that like how you make a good use of the Talia ultimate to song the enemies and got the Drake. So
Yeah,
maybe
I mean, I think before the nerf of Talia, you could do a lot more. I think since the Dragon patch plus her ult nerf plus her E nerf as well, I think she was way more broken before than she is now. But I think she's still a good champions in the right conditions. So for me, whenever I feel like I can hit enemy champions that go into meet, then I will just play it because I think it's just good champion. And I think if you're really good at her, then of course she can win kind of every lane, in my opinion. And then her ult usage makes it very, very nice champion because you can do a lot of stuff with it. You can zone enemies, you can finish objectives, you can go on someone that has no flash. So I think she's very versatile in what she does, and I like the champion. Yeah.
oh, that's good to hear that. And another thing, it is kind of like you have mentioned about that maybe the impact of the mid laner, it is not that very high priority for the draft. But uh, another aspect I'm pretty curious about the jungle pick because we noticed like Aoya played like many game for the Trundles and then one game for the Wukong today. So in your opinion, kind of what kind of jungle pick it is like to best to fit in the current patch, in your opinion?
I mean, I think tanky junglers are pretty good right now. Junglers that can kind of sacrifice for their laners is a nice thing to have, especially when you play, I think, Enchantress bot, because you kind of want frontline. Or if you play the going champions, then you can play like Wukong and I don't know, Jarvan, all that stuff. So I think jungle is a lot. It's also actually pretty versatile where you have different types of champs, but they are kind of all tanky, I guess, in a way. So yeah, I think just tanky junglers, and I think it doesn't really matter what you pick. It's the same. I think you just pick for comp, um, and that's why you also see junglers dropping 4-5. Yeah.
Oh, I see. I know that you are like a huge fans of doing the, and then I also noticed you try to play the Nocturnes in your stream a days ago, and then so I really like curious how you thought about this champion, because doing the like play 2 or 3 games like for the Nocturne in LPL. So how do
Yeah,
you think about it?
I think it's a good champion. I think it has its openings. But I kept it for my it's my secret weapon for a losers bracket. I didn't want to beat Rogue with it today.
Okay, we will see. And other thing it is like I also know that you and the Mad Lion coach team like watch a lot of LPL game. So like maybe in your perspective, like which 4 LPL team probably will make worse this year?
Um, let me think. So right now there is top, there is EDG, there is JDG, I think. No,
Mm-hmm.
wait. Yeah, and then there's also LNG, right? Or is the ONB out? I don't think I watched the latest series, but I think Knight will make it. So that's one team, and then I think EDG will make it with Scout.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think. Who else is there?
Is it
Mm,
V5, Victory 5 for Uki?
Oh, rookie, actually. It's so hard. I think they're all like so good. I think, for example, Doinby is also so good. So I think it's really hard to say. But I would want to see Doinby at the Worlds again. And then maybe rookie, if he can. And then, yeah, so Knight, Scout, rookie, and Doinby, I'd say. I think also Yagao is in there too, I believe. So I'm not sure. There's so many good mids. I think anyone can go from LPL, to be fair. I feel like it's really hard to say now. But I respect them all, and I hope LPL is really spicy. Yeah.
Yes, I'm also pretty looking forward like you against LPL again. Like even though like Matt lose today's game, but if G2 win tomorrow, you
Mhm.
guys still can make worse. So except for LPL, like maybe you guys very high chance to make worse this year. Like maybe which team like for another region you would like to against probably from LCK or the NA side.
From LCK, I really want to play Genji. I think they're really good. I think Chovy is doing really good as well. I think from LCS, it's hard to say because I don't really know who's even good there. I don't really watch the league that much. Um, and then, from LPL, I kind of want to play everyone. I'd say probably playing against Doinby would be the funniest and the most fun, yeah, to like play against because I don't know, he always plays these weird champions. So I want to face Doinby in Chovia.
Yes, I think like probably the LPL fans also want to see like the EU doing B versus the LPL will doing B in the future. Like for the last prediction, I would like to ask you to predict it is the Fnatic versus XL because if one of them like lose this series, they will out. So
Mhm.
since you are also playing Fnatic last year, so in your side, like which team probably will win this series?
I think it will be close series, uh, but I think with Fnatic experience, I believe Fnatic will come on top. I think it will depend a lot on bot lane because both bot lanes are really good. So I think it will just depend mostly on draft and how bot lanes go. But I believe at the end, Fnatic will probably take it. Yeah.
Okay, so like uh another thing like I would like to move on, it is about the team stuff. Like compare with the spring, like you can see that everyone will notice that Mad Lion it is really great this summers. So um, I just want to ask you about something about how do you think for yourself? How do you help your team to go, and what kind of role you take in Mad Lion?
I mean, for me, it's just important that when people play the game, they enjoy. When they play the game, they enjoy it. Also, that the team morale and the team atmosphere is really good because most players need a good environment to perform good. And also feel like I'm very open to new ideas. I don't really, I'm usually not really negative in a way. I think I'm always open to discussions. And I think that's something that's very valuable, especially as a mid laner, because I think a lot of mids have like a lot of ego in a way, where they have their way of playing the game and then they just play their way. And with me, I feel like I'm way more open and I adapt a lot to what the team needs to win, rather than just playing my style. So yeah.
Oh, but by the way, congratulations to win the like summer MVP for the regular split this summer. So I remember that you mentioned about like summer this summer probably your one of your best split, and seems because you mentioned about that you enlarge your champion pool and like improve your communication skills after joining Mad Lions. So I just really want to know how do you like always like keep your game in a very good shape. Like always have such wonderful performance for your game.
Yeah, I mean, that was something I wanted to focus on after I left Fnatic because I felt like I had my highs and my downs, like maybe a bit too much. Like it was maybe too versatile. Like sometimes I was doing really good, sometimes I was doing kind of really bad, and there was not like a even. And I think that's something I focused on a lot, especially with the champions I play, because I think I played actually a decent amount of champions this season as well. So I just think consistency is one of the things I wanted to work on, so that I'm always reliable in every single game. And yeah, I think it's important as a mid laner to have that because usually when you underperform as a mid laner, games are pretty hard to win. So yeah, for me it was important, and I think I did a good job. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think you did a really great job in today's series. Live order rooming is very good. I hope you can keep going on. And what it is your goal, like personal goal for this year?
I mean, I want to make worlds for sure. That's one of my goals, and I think we will make worlds at the end of the day. Also, think making it to finals is something that I really want because I believe I am. I think me and Caps are probably the best mids in EU right now. I'd say. Even though I think Larsen like did a really good job today, in the end I think me and Caps will face off in finals, and I hope it happens. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then at Worlds we'll see.
Okay. One last question. Any word for the fans who always support you and Alliance?
I mean, thank you for the support. It feels really good to see a lot of comments, to get a lot of messages. I feel like the split has been very nice for now, even though we lost today. I still got a lot of good messages already, so it always feels good to see everyone support me. And yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us, and I sincerely wish you all the best in the future. Like Max Dineski. Bom dia.
Thank you. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Salut.